Welcome to your online source for calculator tutorials. In this tutorial, we will learn how to create scatter plots using the listplot command in Spacetime. Begin a new Spacetime document by going to the Menu tab and selecting New. Your screen should look similar to this. We'll begin by creating data lists for our x coordinates and a separate data list for our y coordinates. Let's start by creating the x list first. Go to your keypad over here on the right hand side. And we're going to name this first list X list because it contains the data for the X coordinate. And I'll go ahead and set it in brackets. Remember, if you're entering a list, it should always be in brackets. And I'll just enter a few data points. Now, these data points don't point to any particular quantity, but in practice, we would have some kind of problem behind this, where these data points would be ages or heights or something like that. Alright, that should be good enough. Now, we want to keep this problem self-contained, and this is the first time I've shown this in the tutorials, but if we're using our X list and our Y list, and our primary goal is to create a scatter plot here, we can keep this all in one entry. The way that you do that is by going to the end of the row, and notice you get this return button. Go ahead and click the return button, and it creates a second line within the first entry. Within this line, we want to go ahead and enter the Y list. It's just a little bit of housekeeping to do it that way. We could go ahead and enter each list separately like we have been doing. This is a little better put together, a little more efficient. Right, let's go ahead and enter the Y list now. I'll go ahead and once again enter a couple of data points. One of the things to note is that if you're entering lists that are meant to be X lists and Y lists like these are, then the list sizes themselves should match up. If you notice, I have the same number of data points in my Y list as I have in my X list. If you don't, that's a problem. Alright, so once again, go to the end of the row, hit return, and we're ready for our third and final piece. Alright, once you have an X list and a Y list in place, the only thing to do at this point is to use the listplot command. The listplot command allows you to plot data and defaults to a scatter plot, although a histogram and box and whisker plots are possible. To find the listplot command, go into the catalog menu, go down, and you'll search through the L's until you arrive at the list plot. It has two arguments, an X list and a Y list. Go ahead and tap the listplot command. And then we'll enter X list for the first argument because this contains the X coordinates. And then we'll enter Y list for the Y coordinate. Alright, once you're finished, hit plot. Go ahead and minimize the button pad so you can see everything. And notice how nice and neat and contained this is. We have our two data points, or two data lists. We have the list plot, then we have the scatter plot that it creates. Once created, the scatter plot behaves like any other spacetime plot. You can change the style of the plot, the color scheme of the plot, the window settings. You can double tap the plot to enter a larger view. Double tap again to return to the home screen. This concludes our creating scatter plots tutorial. Feel free to replay this tutorial or browse any of the other available topics on the course webpage.